Now, whilst investigating historic tweets made by Jack Brooks before he joined the county, Somerset have reprimanded the bowler. Somerset have reminded Brooks of his responsibilities and require him to participate in extensive training on equality, diversity and inclusivity. The tweets, which date back to 2012, include racial slurs directed at Tino Mills and Stewart Laudat. Brooks has apologised for those tweets and has also apologised to former Yorkshire teammate and Indian batter Jiteshwar Pujara. That's after Azim Rafiq's testimony on Tuesday said that Brooks called the India batters Steve because he couldn't pronounce his first name. After the investigation was launched by Somerset, Brooks released this statement. I acknowledge that the language used in 2 tweets I made in 2012 was unacceptable and I deeply regret using it. I unreservedly apologise for any offence caused to anybody who may have seen these tweets. I condemn discrimination of any sort and I should never have used discriminatory language, no matter what the intention and context was. I wholeheartedly apologise for any offence caused. With reference to my naming in Azim Rafiq's statement to MPs this week, the use of the name Steve related to some people having difficult names to pronounce. When this has occurred in the past in a dressing room environment, it has been commonplace to give nicknames regardless of creed or race. I admit to having used it in this context and now accept that it was disrespectful and wrong to do so. I've reached out and apologised to Jiteshwar for any offence that I have caused him or his family. At the time I didn't recognise this as racist behaviour, but I can now see that it was not acceptable. Stewart Laudat, who was sent one of the offensive tweets by Brooks, responded to the investigation. He said, I would like to state that I understand that things that have been said or expressed are now under increased scrutiny, and rightly so if we are to address all forms of discrimination. But without context, misunderstandings and misconceptions are easily made. It upsets me that Jack's character is being questioned over this tweet because I've known him for a long time and have never been made to feel uncomfortable in any conversations we've had. Former Yorkshire and West Indies bowler Tino was named in the report into racism allegations made by Rafiq, with the pair playing together in 2010. He detailed an incident involving Director of Cricket Martin Moxon. Moxon is currently absent with a stress-related illness.
You know, he called me in the office and, you know, he was saying stuff like he would send me back on the next flight back to my country and stuff. So I replied and said, you know, coach, I live in Barbados. So then when the whole Black Lives Matter happened, I spoke to Azim. He said, I remember when that happened, I was not happy. So I called Martin Moxon and I tried to have a conversation with him. It took about 3 weeks to get back to me. I said, coach, could you remember the incident that took place back in 2010? He was like, yeah, I remember. I said, you remember what you said? He's like, yes. I said, well, coach, you know, before he could say anything, he right off the bat, don't drag me into this Black Lives Matter thing. I say, coach, I'm not dragging you into anything, but I'm a big man, 40 years old. I just want to know something that happened 11 or 12 years ago. What were you intended to get up by saying it? You know, and he was like, he would have said it to any player. I was like, wow. I said, well, coach, it doesn't make any sense to me you having a conversation. And so if you feel that that is normal behavior by telling your overseas player you were sending back on the next flight to where he comes from, I think that's where a problem is.
Well, during his testimony to the DCMS Select Committee, Rafiq, who is a devout Muslim, explained how he was forced to drink red wine aged 15 and that in 2012 he drank alcohol to fit in. Best revealed he encountered a similar issue at a charity game. Best said South African batter Hashim Amla was repeatedly encouraged to drink alcohol against his Muslim faith. The West Indies bowler has told us he eventually had to step in to stop him being pressured further.
There was a guy at Hashim Amla's table that pressured Hashim for about 3 to 4 hours to drink. Every minute he was like, drink this, drink that. And Hashim in a very humble way, sir, with a big smile, I don't drink. You know, thank you, but no, I don't drink. And this guy went at Hashim for like 3 to 4 hours, Rob, to the point that I got up from my table. I went over to the guy and I said, sir, Hashim is a Muslim. Muslims do not drink. Can you please stop forcing him? It is getting unbearable, brother. Leave it alone. And he was like, okay, mate, all right. I'm just having a bit of a fun. I'm just big banter. I say, it's not banter, bro. Hashim does not drink. Stop bullying him into trying to have a sip.
The government has held frank conversations with the ECB and others over racism in the sport, MPs have heard today. Sports Minister Nigel Huddleston made the disclosure after acknowledging Asim Rafiq's testimony to MPs was harrowing and difficult to hear.
It was difficult to hear because it was harrowing testimony. He's absolutely right, actually. The Fletcher report, which was pretty old, was clearly not acted upon. It should have been. I can assure him we've had very frank conversations with ECB and others involved in cricket over the last couple of weeks. I have had reassurance that they take the issue seriously and will act. And Tom Harrison's promised me with every fibre of his being he will take action here. But he knows, and I know, that we will judge them on their deeds, not their words. And if they fail to act appropriately, we will not hesitate to intervene further.